Welcome back to Ghouly Pleasures. This week's episode is brought to you by Fire and Emotional Damage. I'm Kendra.
And I'm Darcy. And today we are reviewing episode 7 of Welcome to Derry, titled The Black Spot.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Spot. Like, if you thought your night was bad, wait till you hear about what happened at the Black Spot.
Oh my God, so bad. I have a second theory about this title meaning, but let's get into it after the episode. Before we even get into the episode, I just want to address that I don't usually watch the previously on montage that we get at the beginning of an episode, but I did this week. And I couldn't help but notice when they were doing the flashback of the fight between Will and Hanlon, you know, that famous moment. Yeah. They didn't show the slap. They showed the moment where Will was like, I would never let my friends die like you. And then they cut to Hanlon looking shook, but they didn't show the slap. And I was like,
That too. I noticed that too. They cut that part out.
I was like, it must have not been well received. They said, no.
No one puts their hands on my son.
Legit. Don't touch my child. He's not your son. He's our son.
It is the collective audience's son.
Exactly.
We take custody.
So that was funny. But the actual episode itself starts with a cold open back in 1906 at a circus. And this is when we see the original Pennywise back before the alien creature took over his body. And I gotta say, he was already pretty creepy to begin with.
Yeah, nothing much has changed. His head got bigger, but still pretty creepy.
Yeah, we see him put on a cute little show for an audience of children, and it did not feel age appropriate. I mean,
back in those days, there wasn't really any guidelines.
You know what? That's fair. There's lots of violence in the show, which is normal, I feel like. You know, comedic violence at the expense of Pennywise, the clown.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was like a scene where he's dancing with a dress of clearly the impression is like someone's died, okay? And he's dancing with the dress that's left behind of this dead person, almost like he's dancing with the spirit. And then he's at a grave, and it was just a lot.
The sad clown vibe is pretty,
Right? Is this the origin, for crying out loud? Like, damn.
Pennywise is the original sad clown.
Well, he certainly was depressed as hell. Jesus. So he puts on a show, and the kids love it, and it ends with balloons, red balloons, all being released on the stage, and the kids storming the stage and stomping on the balloons. Pennywise being like, "What the fuck?
Okay, I'm out of here."
Right. And while this is all going on, you see this like creepy little figure watching the show in the background. It's a little ominous. Then we finally get a glimpse of Pennywise without the makeup and the mask behind the scenes, and he's talking to his daughter, Ingrid, who's a little child at this time. And we see the origin of Periwinkle, who we now find out was her mother's stage name. So, clownery just runs in the family. It's the family business.
Yes.
And it was sweet in a creepy way because, Pennywise was really proud of his daughter becoming the cute little Periwinkle and doing the bow, the clown bow.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of sweet.
I think that scene showed Ingrid's original father, not Pennywise.
Right.
Guy, but maybe a little depressed.
Yes. He'd lost his wife, and that's what inspired his little, sad routine. And you definitely see a human version of Pennywise. He's just a regular guy trying to make ends meet, it seems. There's a reference to his days in a big circus, and it sounds like maybe he is no longer participating against his will. It kind of sounds like they just had no interest in him anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it was a humanizing moment for the original Pennywise. But it doesn't last long because unfortunately we find out that creepy little freaking figure that was watching Pennywise's show from a distance is the entity, the alien entity.
that has descended upon Earth.
Yeah, he's in the form of a little boy right now, and children are always freaking creepy.
Yeah. Can't
Always.
go wrong with a creepy child.
Nope, you can't.
It always works.
Hmm. And the alien entity speaks to human Pennywise and basically says, the kids seem pretty drawn to you, man. And then he tries the kid version of like, hey, kid, I got candy in my van. You want to get inside? He's like, I lost my mommy. Will you help me find her? And I just love that human Pennywise was like, get lost. Bye.
Like, that is not my job.
Literally. He's
I'm
like,
here to
that's
put up a
above
little
my pay
stand.
grade. Oh, so funny. But unfortunately for human Pennywise, he does end up getting lured in because we hear a scream off in the distance, and that kind of, solidifies the story that this entity was telling. So he takes human Pennywise's hand and they walk off into the distance, and all that the circus and Ingrid find left of him is a handkerchief, his handkerchief,
Mhm.
with blood on it. And they all just assume that wolves or something came and found him and dragged him off. And that's the end of him.
Yep, he's gone.
Yep. It was really cool to see Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård acting as Pennywise, but a different version
Yeah.
of Pennywise.
Mhm.
And changing his voice like without all the makeup too, because you see the character outside of any of the makeup. He had a big head, like
Yeah.
even
It was
without
never
the prosthetic,
what it was.
right? But it was really good. I really like that he got a chance to show another. I mean, we all know he's an amazing actor. He's done such versatile roles, but it was just cool to see him like do a different version of this character that he's
Yes.
become iconic for.
Mhm. I like that they're dropping more lore about Pennywise that we have not seen before.
Yeah, I do too. Shifting back to the present,
Unfortunately.
very much unfortunately, we see the culmination of essentially the KKK. Let's be real.
Yeah.
They are basically the KKK, but they have Halloween masks on instead of white hoods.
Mhm.
They're crashing the party that all of our characters are having at the military base, and they storm in with guns and basically threaten everyone that they need to hand over Hank Grogan, or else they're all gonna die.
Mhm.
Mhm. Oh, but so they see the random white girl, they're like, "Get out." She leaves, and the threats to kill everyone over Hank don't go well because you're on a freaking military base and these are a bunch of soldiers. So they all have guns too. So it becomes a big standoff. And it almost seems like the white guys, have seen reason. Like, this isn't the right way to do this. Let's put our guns down. But I swear to God, his choice of words, this isn't the way to do this. I knew it was not going to go well.
I wasn't convinced for a second they were just gonna walk away.
No.
Clint Bowers, the racist asshole, he was the place down. Hate the scene.
I literally was staring at my screen in horror as it played out because it was just so graphic. I literally wrote down that it's like a war zone, honestly.
It's horrific.
Yeah. Obviously the army people, there's almost all black people. I think the only white person was that random white girl, and then Marge, and then Rich, who's like probably like Mexican, Hispanic, but like everyone else here is black, and they refuse to hand over Hank for basic humanity reasons. Period. Number one, okay, and the frickin' white guys go outside and light it up the most graphic way you could imagine. They chain them all in so no one can escape the building,
Yep.
front and back.
They
They
blocked
cut the power.
threw in their Molotov cocktails,
Yep.
lit the place up, and started shooting inside.
Yes. Oh, what really got me was when some people did manage to escape the building itself, they got shot as they escaped the building too.
Mhm.
It was literally just a complete massacre. And can I say, these pieces of shit came here knowing that, I mean, they brought all the supplies.
Mhm.
So they knew.
They
They
knew.
knew, oh, we're going to kill some people tonight. We're going to kill some black people tonight, is
Mhm.
what they decided. It was literally just chaos. It was horrific. Honestly, this might be the most horrific scene of the entire series so far, in my opinion.
Yep. Like all you see is fire,
Yep.
everyone running around, coughing, screaming. You have some of the black military men there trying to shoot back. You see them getting shot. Other people are getting shot. And
Yeah, it's really graphic.
besides that, someone else shows up to the party.
Oh, yeah. You know, it couldn't be any worse until Pennywise decides to make an appearance. And it's the creepiest freaking shit, too, because, like, you just hear the, like, stomp, stomp, stomp. And then you see him, like, slowly making his way with a jolly little skip through the
His little
flames.
jolly little Pennywise dance. I love it. I love that shot.
Oh my
Actually.
God. It was
It's
so
so good.
sketchy.
To see him emerge from the fire and him doing his little creaky
Yes.
shadow. This poor woman.
Yeah, he comes across this poor woman. He's like, oh, I know a way out. Come with me. And then the next shot we see is him freaking eating her face. Like,
And
bro.
the line, do I have face on my face?
Oh my God. I'm just going to say, this episode, I noticed Pennywise, he always goes for the face. He eats a lot of face in this freaking show. I guess we all have our preferences.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Pennywise. But it's not going good for our main characters either. Poor Marge, her freaking arm catches on fire. Rich is putting it out. Will's knocked down onto the ground. Ronnie gets separated from her father. Everyone's everywhere.
Hmm.
And in the midst of it all, Dick sees a ghost. And this ghost, like, without necessarily directly communicating, guides him to a hidden exit under the fridge.
Hmm.
And he, with the help of someone else who quickly dies,
Quickly
another
die.
soldier, they pull the fridge out and, you know, bash the floor in so they can escape. But Dick stops because he needs to find the freaking kids. Bless Dick. He's like, I have my priorities straight. Let's get the kids.
And for a moment, he was about to leave
He
everyone
was.
until
Mhm.
Ronnie screamed. Then he
Yeah.
was like, damn, maybe I should at least save Ronnie. I don't know.
Right. He's like, fuck. And then I think it was like Ronnie and Will, or Ronnie was there, and either Ronnie or Will, as Dick is trying to get them out of the fire. You know, they're like, "Oh, our friends are still there," and he's like, "Oh my God, I guess I'll go back for them." Um, so he makes a choice during this sequence that he's going to actively talk with the spirit to get its help finding the kids to help them escape. Um, and it's this Native American who has a like bear hat on. And it was a really cool moment because, you know, you see this spirit and at first it has like this glazed over look to its eyes and they're like white. But then like when Dick calls out to it, its eyes focus and become clear.
Hmm.
And he follows this ghost to find the children. And thankfully, you know, some of them get out, but before Rich and Marge can make it, the roof collapses and they're cut off from the exit.
Yep. And we saw this coming, guys.
Yep.
We said it last episode.
Mm-hmm. Rich decides to make a heroic sacrifice. He basically pulls like a Jack from the Titanic. He finds a box and he's like, get in the box, Marge. It's the only way we're going to survive. And so, you know, she listens and gets in the box. And then as soon as she gets in, I mean, we knew where it was going, but she realizes it once she's in the box. And she like is looking around and realizing like, this isn't going to fit both of us. And then she looks up at Rich's face and sees that he knows. And he closes the box and freaking sits on it to like force her to stay inside of
He
it.
can't.
Yeah. And they really wanted our hearts to bleed.
Literally, like I wanted to fast forward through this scene because I'm like, it's dragging on. I know he's gonna die. Why are you making it worse? Please,
Literally. Like
please just kill him.
suffer. suffer. No,
I,
instead they make us listen to Rich telling Marge he remembers the first time he noticed her and basically the first time, like the time he fell in love with her. Okay. And they straight up confess to each other. They say they love each other, you know. I mean, maybe you don't consider it romantic. Certainly on Rich's part, it was romantic. In any case, it's really freaking sad, no
it is
matter how you
so
look at it.
freaking sad. I hate this show.
Yeah. Oh my God. They really wanted to. They have Rich like after they say I love you. I think it's after. Might be before, but I think it's after. He like he kisses the freaking box where she's I was like,
Oh,
why are you
emotional
trying to
damage.
kill us? Literally. A lot of really sad shit going on.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, you know, all the white men are outside and at this point they're pretty comfortable that no one's going to survive this. So they decide it's okay to leave.
Yep, they're like, our job's here's done. Let's get out of here, gang.
Yep, let's skedaddle. And everyone starts driving away, but there's just one car that stalls out. And that car belongs to Stanley. And that's Ingrid's husband.
Hmm. The good old butcher we met in episode 2, I think, originally, and he was so nice to Charlotte.
Mhm.
But look at him now.
Yeah, look at him now. And it gets worse because out from the woods stumbles Ingrid dressed as Periwinkle.
Periwinkle has entered the scene.
Indeed. And Stanley sees her and is immediately like, Ingrid, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, go home and wipe that stuff off your face. You're being ridiculous, Ingrid.
Right, but
I know you're
then,
working, and you come out here looking like a clown.
like, honestly, if he hadn't thrown in the insinuation of threatening to beat her, I would have been like, yeah, Stanley, you tell her. She's looking crazy. But then he's like, I'm gonna beat you black and blue if you don't get home and get that off. So I was like, oh, Stanley, no. It was already bad. Like, here we are, literally murdering people, and now you're threatening to beat your wife too? Damn, man, damn.
Oh,
So, they're not really on the best terms.
no.
And then guess who shows up again? Our good old Pennywise appears,
Mhm.
and I guess he's feeling a little paternal because he decides he's gonna chop Stanley's face off, like right in the middle.
Yep,
Not his
chop
head, just
right
his
in-
face.
yeah, just his face. Takes it
Yep,
clean off.
yep. And then picks up a part of it and starts eating it again. He really likes face.
Yeah, that scene was disgusting. It looked gross.
Yeah,
When he
yeah.
bit, I'm like, why is his head so juicy?
I know.
Whose head is that juicy?
It was icky. It was icky. Yeah. And then we get a huge, well, not revelation, but we get a huge confrontation between Ingrid and Pennywise, which starts, you know, kind of nice
Mhm.
for, you know, two clowns who are basically killers at this point. Ingrid is like, oh, I was the one who tipped the police off about Grogan being here because I knew that it would incite violence and then you would come.
And
So,
feed off of it. It would bring so much fear, and you can feed.
yep.
I did this for you,
The
Papa.
chaos. Yes. Literally, I did it for you, Papa. And Pennywise echoes one of her father's statements from the cold open where he says, show me your bow, show me the bow. And she does her clown bow that her dad Pennywise, you know, human Pennywise was so proud of. And he's so creepy because now, you know, entity Pennywise claps like, like he's so like happy about it. And then he hugs her too,
Mm-hmm.
like a freaking father.
So weird.
It's so creepy. But, you know, Ingrid is all about it. She thinks she has her father back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pennywise tells her, you know, I'm gonna leave now, but I'll return. I always do. And this is where things start to fall apart.
Yeah, she kind of crashes out. She's like, don't
Yeah,
leave me again.
yeah,
Don't abandon me.
yeah, yeah. She reaches out and grabs his arm, and I was like, oh, no, 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 girl. And he, like, turns his head back, and you can tell. He's like, mm.
You crossing a line, Ingrid.
Yep. And he suddenly looks really menacingly. And I mean, to me, he'd been looking at her menacingly the whole time. But I guess to Ingrid, something's different because all of a sudden she realizes that this isn't her father. And Pennywise pretends to try, very specific, pretends to try to hold up the illusion for about a second. It's like, no, it's me. Your father's in here. I ate him. Like, he really likes toying with people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, really delights in it.
Absolutely.
Yep. And she is horrified. And then he promptly deadlights her.
Yes.
And she floats.
And she floats. You'll float too.
You'll float too. So, good luck, Ingrid. I'm a little bummed that she didn't get more of a villain arc. I mean, she precipitated such a. I mean, she did cause, in my opinion, the worst horror scene in the whole series. But I was kind of hoping I would get to see her be a little hands on too.
Hmm. She might come back.
She might. She might. It's possible. It's possible she'll come back. Speaking of that, let's start talking about after the fire. It's after the fire. The firefighters are finally here. We see the aftermath and the wreckage. They find poor Marge, who's still inside the box where Rich put her, and they let her out. And she finds Rich's body, leaning against the side of the box with died, eyes open.
I
It was
hate
really,
it.
really sad.
I hate it.
Yeah.
They really will not give up on trying to torture us emotionally.
Right. But at least Ronnie is here. She finds Marge and she sees what's happening. So she's all personally devastated, you can tell, but she also comforts Marge in this moment. I think she could tell that there was a different personal investment here with Marge and Rich. So she comforts Marge, and then Will comes over and
He hugs Rich because that was his first friend he made.
yep,
The one who was nice to him when he started school.
yep. So the three of them silently mourn Rich together.
Hmm.
And it's really sad as hell. And then outside of the burnt crisp of, this
Yeah.
little wreck area, we see a couple creepy things, because you can't rest. Devastation, here's some creepy shit now too. We see a girl, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the girl who was getting her face eaten out by Pennywise? It couldn't have been, but it looks
No,
like her.
no, it's
All
different.
right. I knew it had to be, but I was like, is it her? Anyways, there's a girl and she's sitting down. I'm sure she's been looked at by paramedics and she's just sat down now where everyone is. Everyone's just sitting outside of the wreckage.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden this girl, she takes off her wig and she starts laughing like Pennywise would laugh, like creepy, you know, like she's amused by the
Yeah,
horror
I was
that's
really
just happened.
about that particular scene. I was like, do we know this character? What is
Right.
laughing supposed to mean? I feel like it's supposed to mean something. I have a vague theory. I think it might have been the white lady they told to leave earlier, and her taking off her wig to see her textured hair to show that she's probably not all the way white.
Oh, gotcha.
We don't see anybody else survive that massacre besides Dick, Will, Ronnie, Marge, and Hank. Those are the people we see survive the fire, and that random girl who's laughing.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. The one that they told to leave earlier. Yeah, I think you're right. That's a really good theory. Damn. Yeah. Well, so that's creepy thing number one. She out here being laughing like a creep, like she snapped essentially, like she's having her own crash out.
Mhm.
And then we also see Ingrid being carried away by paramedics, and she's staring off, into nothingness the way that you usually do when you see Deadlights. But then all of a sudden her eyes, like it's like low-key a jump scare, her eyes shift really suddenly towards the camera. So something's still in there.
Mhm. Ugh,
Hmm.
I actually jumped. I was like, "Oh my
I
god!"
did too, actually. I wasn't expecting it, but it's a good sign that it might not be the end of Periwinkle. So we'll see. As all this is going on, the parents start showing up. So Hanlon and Charlotte arrive, and obviously, they're hugging their son, grateful he's alive. But Charlotte and Hanlon both get down to business right away, too. Ronnie quickly tells Charlotte, "My dad is in the woods." And I thought it was a really sweet moment where Ronnie and Charlotte and Will and Marge all walk off into the woods together, and they're all holding hands.
Yeah, they all hold hands and walk off. It was really nice.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for at least one little, like, heartwarming moment amidst all this fucking tragedy, please, because I needed something.
I can get.
Literally, I'm willing to take scraps at this point, please. Jeez. So she goes, and they meet up with Hank in the woods, and they need to get Hank out because the place is now swarming with authorities, and it's not
Mhm.
looking good. And Charlotte comes up with an idea, and she tells Hank to take off his clothes. So, I mean, where this is going, we get further into it later, but basically her intention is to switch his clothes onto one of the corpses so that people will think he died in the fire, which fucking great, Charlotte. Charlotte's a
Mhm.
fucking genius over
Yeah,
here.
she thinks on her feet.
Hell yeah. She said, we'll work with what we have. We
Oh,
got to do what
love
we got to do.
I
And
love Charlotte.
and just think how difficult that would have been to like look at one of the dead bodies and to go through that process. So she's
Mhm.
a smart woman and she's a strong woman who says, we'll get it done, period. Meanwhile, Hanlon goes and he finds Dick. And this is where we find out that Dick is suffering insane repercussions from his decision to actively interact with one of the spirits. They basically are all around him now, all
Mm.
talking to him at once. Like there's no space, there's not a quiet moment. He's going through it.
He's going through it indeed. Like, he is shaking, hyperventilating. He's having a tough time.
Yeah. It's not great. But he does offer some helpful information. Now that, he can talk to these spirits, he can help them find the pillar. The pillars.
I think he said he can just find one. I don't know if he said he could find all of them.
You're right. He says we can find a pillar. And he also drops the news that Pennywise is asleep. He's hibernating. He's gone. He can't feel him anymore. So it sounds like they can just go and find these pillars and not have to worry about the entity interfering with them anymore.
Mhm.
It kind of seems like, easy picking at this point.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. I mean, this is the penultimate episode.
Oh, God, yeah.
And Pennywise is hibernating again. Think
I have
not for
some hope
long.
there. I'm like, they can get some stuff done because we know he's down for 27 years now. So they can move freely. They're just setting up for season 2 now. And I'm like, I had hope. I had hope.
I had none. I was like, you know how they like to do it. They're like, oh, okay, the worst has happened, right? Wrong. It'll get worse. Although they killed my son Rich, so I don't know how much worse it can get, but we'll see. You know what? Actually, I think it can get worse. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. So the military has a new plan. They're going to use Dick, find the pillar, and go from there. Meanwhile, Hanlon and Charlotte are trying to figure out what they're going to do moving forward. Hanlon, surprisingly, suggests that they hide Hank at their house in Derry. And I was like, "Oh, okay, Hanlon.
Mhm.
Now you're on board with this?"
I was
Okay.
surprised.
Yeah. I was shook. We
I
were
think
basically
everything that's happened, he's more okay with that side of things now because they are so in the midst of this Pennywise situation. They're like, okay, take Hank away.
right.
Worry about that later.
Right. And I'm sure it's like, you know, he was there's no way to turn away really from the insanity of your son being at this place where the freaking clan tried to kill everyone in mass.
Mhm.
Your son could have been dead. You're so lucky he's alive. So, like, who do you have loyalty to right now? You know what I mean?
It's literally they had a scene, I don't remember exactly, but it's basically down to, like, he doesn't really care about anything else besides his family and his duty. Because he's like, "Once this is all over, we're getting out of here, none of this is our problem." And
Yes.
Charlotte's like,
I want
"A bunch of
revenge.
people just died.
Yep.
Bunch of Black people were just killed in this town,
Yep.
and you just wanna get us out of here?"
Mhm. That's what, like, it's like he just wants to run away from everything. It's
Mm,
funny because in the last episode, him and Will had that conflict because Will's like, "You taught me never to run away from everything." But here Hanlon is basically being like, "No, no, we're gonna just finish up. We're gonna get out. We'll get Hank out. We'll do what we need to do. Everyone's just leaving." That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to confront anything head on at this point.
mhm.
Meanwhile, things get even more frustrating and irritating because there's now a news report going around talking about what happened the previous night. And they say, oh, it was an electrical fire at
Mhm.
a quote unquote illegal colored speakeasy. Yeah, it pissed me the fuck off.
Me
Not
too, girl.
surprising, but it pissed me the fuck off.
That scene, like, the way they just tied up that whole plot with just a throwaway radio show that lied
Yep.
about all of the events and brushed everything under the rug, and there's like, "We're done with that now." That's the
Yep.
real horror of this episode.
Yep. Because it's real. It
Mhm,
was real for the time. And you know what? In many ways, it's still real at present.
mhm.
And then I think the only quote unquote good thing to come from the radio report is that they found a charred body and they declared it as Hank Grogan. So the case is closed. No one's looking for Hank anymore.
Mm,
That's the only good thing that happens. But then they piss me off immediately afterwards because they're like, good job to the guys in blue. I'm like, so what? I just don't know.
they found a way to blame it on the Black people,
Yep,
and
and praise the cops. Yep. Mhm. So, I mean, at least Charlotte's plan was successful because putting Hank's clothes on one of the corpses and, exchanging the corpse's clothes for Hank to escape, at least, it's buying them time. That's the only good thing.
Mhm.
Listening to this report is our little friend Lily, who we haven't talked about at all this episode yet. And she's not in a good way right now. She's pretty shut down emotionally and refusing to eat. So,
Still clutching that shard to her chest.
still clutching that shard to her chest so creepily. Oh my god. Like even the dog is looking at her like she's crazy.
Mhm.
And freaking Ronnie and Marge come to visit her to tell her about what happened to Rich. And when Lily's mom opens the door to let them in, like her bedroom, the dog runs out.
Yeah, he's like, "Thank goodness, let me out of here. I think this bitch is
Right.
crazy."
Set me free. And it's really sad. I mean, this was just another moment of, watching everyone cry again. Again. Literally that's it. The whole scene was just getting Lily on the same page as the rest of the group.
Mhm.
And I mean, clearly this feels like they're just laying the groundwork to pull them back together as a team. Rich, just like we were talking about, Rich's death is going to be the thing that pulls them all together again to work
Mhm.
together. So, um, I didn't like watching it because I had suffered enough this episode.
I know. Let us live, please. Please, Derry.
Literally. That's it. That's it. But no, while all this is going on, the military's doing some dumb shit. They find the pillar with Dick's help, and then Hanlon is basically like dismissed immediately. They take this pillar, we should be clear, they take the pillar out of the ground,
Mm,
essentially breaking the the boundary line, okay?
mhm.
And then Hanlon's like, all right, let's go do what we got to do. But oh no, you can stand down. You're done. We don't need you anymore, essentially, is what he's told. Because the pillar is being sent out for testing. And Hanlon's really taken aback because his understanding was that the pillar would be moved further into Derry. It would remain in Derry so that its effects could continue.
Mhm.
But no, it's leaving. And I was actually really surprised. It's like poor Hanlon. I'm just like, wow, I was surprised when he stood up and was like, this is dangerous. You can't do this. But the military insists, like, oh, well, Dick said that Pennywise is hibernating, so everything's fine.
Everything's
It's
fine.
fine.
Gonna take this pillar away, do something, it'll be fine. We got plenty of
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good. And looking in the trees and seeing all this bullshit happen is Rose. Remember Rose, the native woman, who's, their tribe watches over Pennywise to make sure the barrier is maintained. He sees this shit happening
Mhm.
and he
Taniel.
runs. Yep. Yes, Taniel. So he survived. Thank God, Taniel. Woo.
I don't know how he got out of there, but good for him.
Right? Oh my God. And without a shard, girl, I don't know. Good for him. But he sees what's happening and he runs to tell his Aunt Rose. And this is, we've already seen it, but this is where we can discuss that. Rose, meanwhile, is meeting with Charlotte because Charlotte has taken Hank to see Rose so that she can help him get across the border and out
Mhm.
of the area. So he and Ronnie can go and live without this fucking racist bullshit following them. So there's a lot going on. Daniel goes to warn Rose. Cool. Rose is with Charlotte and Hank. They frickin' left Will alone at the house because they still think that Pennywise is asleep.
Mhm.
So it's all good. It would have been the case if the military just left well enough alone. But no, because they bring the pillar/shard and they are running tests on it. And one of those tests includes putting it in a frickin' incinerator. And then we find out because frickin' Hanlon comes and he pulls a gun,
Mhm.
which was insane. I was not expecting that from him at all. He pulls a gun on everyone in this military lab, well, quote unquote lab, and tells them to stop. And oh my God, the way they, you know, the frickin' shard is just a second away from tumbling over into the incinerator, but it stops. And there's a confrontation between Hamlin and all these military men. And the general intervenes and tells everyone to put their guns down. Come up here, Hanlon. I want to talk with you. And this is where the general finally admits Russia was never the enemy. It was never an external enemy. The enemy is within. Essentially, the enemy is like liberalism. They were like,
Early.
he was like, these women want rights. Look at these race wars going on. Everyone just needs to follow the rules. And you know what makes people follow rules? Fear.
Mhm.
Interesting. So we find out that his plan this whole time was not to conduct experiments and to study the shard, but to unleash Pennywise so that it can unleash its fear on the world. And then the general will use that fear to control people.
Mm-mm-mm.
And he even says, what really got me was, he says, look, this works. Look at that massacre that happened last night. Now everyone's being good. Everyone's, on good terms. Like, bro, what the hell? I was at
Mm-mm-mm.
a loss for words.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I don't know how this dumb bitch thinks that unleashing Pennywise, an uncontrolled force, is gonna in any way help.
He's probably just trying to figure out some way to control it for his own good so he can
Yeah.
control the fear personally. But he has no idea what this
Mhm.
thing is.
Right. He's probably like, I'll unleash it now and I'll figure out the rest later.
Mhm. He said, "How many more children have to die?" And he's just like, "As many as they need to."
Yep.
Crazy.
The end justifies the means, essentially. Hanlon's not happy.
No, he doesn't want
Understandable.
any part of this. He's so mad.
Yeah, he threatens to report the general to the higher ups. And he again pulls his gun on the general when the general orders the other soldiers to continue incinerating the shard. And I was like, damn, Hamlin, he really he really committed to this shit.
He stood on business.
Yeah. But unfortunately there's another soldier there who pulls the gun on Hamlin. So I mean, pulling just like the dumbass white men the night before pulling guns on military men. It's like, why are we pulling guns around a bunch of people that also have guns? It's not going to do much. But so Hanlon has no choice essentially but to concede and leave and
Mhm.
return to quote unquote return to your quarters as the frickin' general tells him to. And, it's so interesting how the general kind of says it all and interacts with Hanlon with this really, not, I guess, kind of personable demeanor. He doesn't feel threatening. He's still speaking like they're on the same team in the moment.
Mhm.
But then as soon as Hanlon leaves, the general basically tells one of the fellow soldiers to kill Hanlon quietly. He basically tells him.
I guess. I said just keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't leave.
He says, make sure he doesn't get off this base. And in my opinion, the
Oh.
way it was said, I was thinking, at least the way I took it is, he's low key being like, kill him, but don't make it obvious. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Make sure
mm,
he doesn't leave the base. Who knows? Oh my God, I mean, he's willing to let kids die. He's willing to let so many people die. So I can't imagine he'd stop, now that Hanlon has served his purpose.
yeah, but I still feel like he thinks he could use Hamlin because of his ability to not feel fear and his wanting to weaponize this fear. So I don't know if he would.
Maybe. It's possible because actually my mind was just turning as I was talking. And I was thinking, actually, what purpose has Hamlin served so far?
Yeah,
He
he has a.
really hasn't. Yeah, so maybe you're right. And the general really didn't mean it in any particular way, except, yeah, keep him on the freaking base because we need him still. Very possible. Maybe that'll be a part of season 2.
Mhm.
If if he survives.
If he
Although
survives,
I saw a rumor, I don't know how true it is, that more seasons are gonna go back in time, like prequel kind of thing.
really, I think I did see something about that too. I don't know. I vaguely remember seeing that. I don't know how true it is. Don't quote
Right.
us.
No, don't quote us. These are not facts. They're just, rumors that we've seen and are relaying. That's all. But I mean, I just feel like there's a lot right now going on. So I kind of think I don't think one episode could really wrap it up. It seems like it would be a good idea to continue the story in a season 2, but who knows? Who knows
Who knows?
what'll happen? But so yeah, that's not going great. And
And then after the shard is incinerated, we cut to a scene of Pennywise just in this goop of human remains and just chilling. He's taking a little nap. And then his eyes open. And like, that's not good. That doesn't look good. I don't like that.
no, that's not good.
Because then what do we cut over to now? To the scene of Will alone in the house in Derry. And he gets a phone call from what we assume is Ronnie. And Ronnie's saying, "Oh, we're at the base and we miss Rich. And it's so sad." And Will's trying to comfort her. And then Ronnie's like, "Rich is dead. He tasted so good." And then it turns into Pennywise.
Oh, he really
Oh,
likes setting people up, like, oh, everything's good. Just kidding. It's me.
did you believe for a second that it was Ronnie? How far
No.
along did you believe it was Ronnie?
As soon as the phone rang, because it happened after the scene where Pennywise opened his eyes. Like,
Mhm.
if they hadn't shown that scene, I probably wouldn't have realized it right away. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it was just too obvious after that.
I have a little bit of hope. I'm like, because I just don't want anything to happen to my son. So I'm like, Pennywise, that last scene was just a little fun little thing. It means nothing. Well, it's totally fine. It's like, oh God, as the phone call got longer, I was like, oh gosh. Oh gosh.
He can't catch a break. And when he realizes it's Pennywise, he tries to stand up to him like you would a bully. Like, no, I'm not scared of you. You can't scare me. And surprise, surprise, Pennywise says, "Let's bet on that."
Like Pennywise says, bet. He turns around, he's
Literally.
crouched on the fridge, looking horrific. I hate him.
Yeah, like his like lower half body, like most like almost to his, I can't even remember where it stopped, but like the bottom half of his body is like all red. Like he was like in organs and blood and shit. Like, ugh. So that was a good jump scare moment. Yeah. And then he deadlights Will.
Oh, my
Yep.
son.
And that's where the episode ends. So
So it ends.
it ain't looking good for our son Will at this point.
Mm-mm.
They can't do anything to him. We've lost one son. Actually, if you include episode 1, we've lost way too many children already. I
We've
can't
lost.
even count. They won't. He's fine. He's fine.
It's fine.
He's
Did you watch the trailers for the next week's episode this time?
Nope. I never watch. And with anything that I watch, I never freaking watch it. I don't know. I want to be surprised. You know how trailers are these days. It's like they give everything away. I want to be surprised. I like being surprised with shows. Anyways, not with regular things in life, but with shows. I like being surprised. Did you see anything good?
It's gonna be a crazy finale. I'll say that
Yeah.
much. It's gonna so much more than you think.
Okay. Are you worried about anyone in particular?
I'm worried about everyone.
Damn. Damn. I'm scared. I mean, I'm scared about Charlotte. Not my queen.
Oh gosh, I know Charlotte's kind of expendable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Dick can't die because he goes on to be in The Shining. Not Charlotte, please. I don't know. I truly don't have any predictions because I genuinely didn't think that this is how the penultimate episode would go in terms of like Pennywise going to sleep and
Mm,
then being reawoken. Like, I didn't think it was going to happen like that. I guess I was just naturally assuming that it would follow, you know, the typical format of the final episode is when the cycle ends and he
mhm.
goes back to sleep. But now it's been totally wrecked,
Yeah,
essentially.
so I'm
So,
not sure how much this deviates from the books because like it just ends when he goes to sleep because none of this military stuff is in the books. I'm pretty sure.
right. No, I mean, I haven't read the books, but it's like you would think if this was part of the origin, there would be some mention of it in the TV versions, movie versions that we've seen. And I think this is the first time. We could be wrong. We're not claiming to be experts here. We're just enthusiasts, remember. Um, but yeah, I don't think they've seen anything about this in any other media version. So, and it's so low key reflective of certain modern day occurrences, with the
Yeah.
standings that's going on, that low key it just feels like it had to have been just created for this modern take on the series.
Hmm.
But I'm definitely very, very curious to see what they do.
I know there's so many directions they can take it now since they've done so much in this last episode to set things up. And like we said, we don't know what season 2 is going to be, if it's going to be another flashback or they're going to continue this arc because I don't know how they're going to answer so many. Like Pennywise has woken up.
Right.
from ritual cycle.
Right.
So it's only going to cause more chaos unless they somehow put him back to sleep.
Right. And you've literally incinerated one of the pillars. So, although, remember, Lily still has a shard. So
Oh,
maybe they
yeah.
do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Forgot about that. I don't know why, because she's been clutching it for dear life.
No, it's because we just haven't been seeing her like recently. Because
Mm-hmm.
this episode focused on so much other sad shit.
I'm surprised Lily was still at home. I thought she'd be back at Juniper Hills, honestly,
Honestly, high key.
through the streets and everything that she's been through.
For real. Like, that's probably why she's holed up in her bedroom. Because she's like, I just have to sit here and not move. Otherwise, it's not going to go well. I'm going to crash out. Valid. Honestly. Totally valid. But yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do next week.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. I've seen the trailer. It looks like it's going to be a really good episode, even if I am worried. It looks crazy. It looks crazy.
I hope they kill everyone.
No. I've had enough loss. I don't want to see any more.
Yeah, they've killed most of my favorites. Except Charlotte. And Will.
So far.
I know. So far. Well, we'll just have to go into the next episode not caring too much about anyone. Life is crazy, so sometimes you just need some mindlessness and chat with people who like some horror, that's all.
That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
So that wraps up our review of episode 7 of Welcome to Derry, titled The Black Spot. We lost Rich, we got some more clown lore, and we're emotionally damaged, and we'll continue to be emotionally damaged for the next one. So we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.